MASH wasn't just a television show, it was a cultural phenomenon that blended humor, heartache, and humanity in a way no other series had before. For 11 powerful seasons, we laughed, cried, and grew alongside the unforgettable doctors, nurses, and misfits of the 4077th. But behind the scenes, time has quietly taken its toll. Many of the beloved actors who brought these timeless characters to life have since passed on, some peacefully, others far too soon. In this tribute, we honor 13 remarkable cast members whose talents shaped television history and whose legacies continue to echo through every rerun, every quote, and every memory shared by millions of fans around the world. From the wise warmth of Colonel Potter to the fiery strength of Margaret Houlihan's closest allies, their stories go far beyond the screen. This isn't just about loss, it's about gratitude. Join us as we look back on the lives, the laughs, and the lasting impact of the souls behind MASH. Number 1. Harry Morgan. Beginning in the 1930s, Harry began his career as an actor on stage in New York City, including work on Broadway. Harry made his debut in the film industry with the 1942 picture To the Shores of Tripoli. In the 40s and 50s, Harry made appearances in a large number of films, most of which were comedies, westerns, and war films. He also had supporting roles in a number of films. He began his career in television during the early stages of its development in the 1950s. He later appeared in Dragnet in 1967 as Officer Bill Gannon. His shift to television occurred during the early stages of its growth. Harry continued to appear in both television and cinema, establishing himself as a dependable and versatile character actor over the course of his career. After joining MASH in 1975, Harry took over for McLean Stevenson, who had played the role of Lieutenant Colonel Sherman Potter in the first episode of Season 4, Welcome to Korea, in 1975. Harry immediately became a fan favorite during the MASH era due to his presence that was grounded and fatherly toward the audience. Harry was able to bring both humor and gravity to the part, while also frequently delivering some of the show's most emotionally moving moments. Harry featured in the spin-off series opposite William Christopher and Jamie Farr in 1983, following the conclusion of the MASH television series. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, he continued to act in a variety of roles, including voice work, television movies, and guest parts. Afterwards, Harry and his Dragnet co-star, Jack Webb, got back together for a number of retrospectives and tributes. Harry led a very quiet existence in retirement during the 2000s, occasionally making appearances in interviews or MASH retrospectives despite his retirement. In the end, Harry passed away on December 7th, 2011. Number 2. Larry Linville. He began his career by performing in theater performances in New York and then moved to Los Angeles. In the 1960s, Larry made the transition from film to television by appearing as a guest star on a number of notable television series, including Bonanza. Larry was chosen to play the role of Major Frank Burns in the television drama MASH when it first aired in 1972. According to the novel, Frank Burns was an insecure and self-righteous surgeon who was frequently presented as functioning as a counterpoint to Hawkeye and Trapper. The performance of Larry brought about sharp comedic timing, physical expressiveness, and one-of-a-kind ability to make a character who is detested seem and appear to be genuinely human. He quit the show in 1977 after the 5th season had aired. Linville had the impression that he had finished developing the character of Frank Burns to the fullest extent possible, and he desired to avoid being typecast. After being passed on for promotion, the character was written out as being transferred to a post within the United States throughout the writing process. The show began to place a greater emphasis on matters of morality and emotional depth after he left, which signaled a shift in the show's dynamic. With a particular emphasis on comedic roles and guest appearances, Larry continues to perform in films and television shows. Over the course of the 1990s, Larry struggled with his health, and in 1998 he underwent surgery to remove a portion of a lung that was malignant. Later on April 10, 2000, Larry passed away. McLean Stevenson. After working a variety of occupations in the 1950s, He eventually decided to pursue acting as a full-time career. These jobs included working in advertising, insurance sales, and even as a clown. In the early 1960s, McLean relocated to Los Angeles with the intention of pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. McLean began his career in the entertainment industry as a comedy writer, contributing to series such as That Was the Week That Was and the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour and other similar programs. After that, he started appearing as a guest on television shows and began establishing his own kind of humor that was relaxed, laid back, and friendly. Since the very first episode of MASH, which aired in 1972, Stevenson has been playing the role of Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake. Blake was the commanding officer of the 4077th, and he was a compassionate, preoccupied, and chaotic individual who frequently found himself overwhelmed by the tumult of war and the antics of his subordinates. Blake became a beloved human and frequently tragicomic figure as a result of Stevenson's performance, which was characterized by warmth and heartwarming cluelessness. In addition to being the reluctant authority figure, McLean was famous for his ability to make jokes and wear fishing hats. After the conclusion of his third season in 1975, Stevenson decided to leave the show in order to seek other career opportunities. During that time period, Stevenson had the aspiration of expanding his career beyond the ensemble category by transitioning into leading roles in his own sitcoms. Abyssinia Henry was the season 3 finale, and it was one of the most stunning moments in the history of television. The character of Henry Blake was killed off in an unexpected manner. Larry continued to make appearances on television and at public events far into the early 1990s. He passed away on February 15, 1996, after a long and fruitful career. Number 4. Wayne Rogers. Since the 1960s, Wayne has been making appearances in both films and television shows. His acting credits include appearances in Gunsmoke, The Big Valley, and The Fugitive, among others. In 1972, Wayne was chosen to play the role of Captain Trapper John McIntyre in the original television series of the MASH franchise. This character was based on the real-life Dr. John Trapper McIntyre, who'd been portrayed by Elliot Gould in the film that was released in 1970. He was charming, mischievous, and clever all at the same time. The ideal counterpart of Hawkeye Pierce can be found here. As a result of feeling creatively marginalized, Rogers departed the show after the third season. As a result of the writers placing an excessive amount of emphasis on Alan Alda's Hawkeye, Trapper's character arc was diminished, which led to his departure. The character of Wayne was written out at the beginning of season 4 as having been dismissed and gone home. Wayne's departure from the show was not shown on screen. Rogers, it's important to note, never signed a contract with the show that would have permitted him to quit without restriction. In the end, B.J. Honeycutt was chosen to take over the post. The television series City of Angels in 1976, which was a drama about a private eye, and House Calls from 79 to 82, which was a successful sitcom starring Lynn Redgrave, were among the many films and television programs that Wayne starred in after MASH. Wayne had a reputation for playing characters who were intelligent, self-assured, and friendly. After that, on December 31st, 2015, Wayne passed away. Number 5. David Ogden Stiers. David began his career in the San Francisco theater scene beginning in the 1970s when he began playing with the California Shakespeare Festival Company. Small appearances in television and movies, such as those on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Kojak, and the Tony Randall Show, helped David emerge as a prominent figure. David was chosen to play the role of Major Charles Emerson Winchester III in the 6th season of MASH in 1977, following Larry Linville's resignation from the show. Winchester was a talented surgeon, a well-educated and intelligent individual, and a member of the Boston aristocracy. He was a fierce intellectual competitor to Hawkeye and BJ, in contrast to Burns of the same name. David was naughty and arrogant individual, yet he was always capable of displaying unexpected tenderness and a range of emotions. In addition to adding a new dimension of complexity to the show, Winchester's cultural snobbery turned out to be a source of comedy gold. Extremely unique emotional weight was brought about by his moments of weakness, especially in its latter seasons. David's nuanced portrayal contributed to the development of MASH into a drama that was more mature and focused on the characters. David continued to maintain a steady work schedule in the film, television, and voice acting industries. Star Trek: The Next Generation, Matlock, Frasier, Touched by an Angel, and Warehouse 13 were among the television shows in which he appeared as a guest star. According to many who know him, David is a very bright, caring, and contemplative individual who is also very private. Beginning in the 2010s, David continued to work in voice acting and television until his health began to deteriorate and he passed away on March 3, 2018. Number 6. William Christopher. William started his acting career in New York City in the 1960s, first performing on stage and then moving on to television and movies. Through his appearances on a wide variety of television episodes, including Hogan's Heroes, The Andy Griffith Show, Gomer Pyle MC, United States of America, and The Twilight Zone, William typically played characters who were shy, kind-hearted, or awkward. It was in the film Gomer Pyle that William was given the role of Private Lester Hamel, which was an early illustration of his charming and modest cinematic attitude. During the first season of MASH, which began airing in 1972, William was cast in the part of Father Mulcahy, which was initially portrayed by George Morgan in the premiere episode. Then, beginning with the second episode of the first season, William Christopher assumed the part, and he remained to play it throughout the entirety of the series. While serving as the Catholic chaplain for the unit, Father Mulcahy provided the unit with surprising courage, moral clarity, and spiritual support. Christopher's performance in the role was marked by sincerity and calm strength. William went from being a minor character becoming one of the show's moral foundations. He frequently served as the conscience of the 4077th, and he was not afraid to question authority or his own convictions. In Poseidon, where he resided peacefully, William enjoyed retirement and made infrequent appearances of himself. Due to small cell carcinoma, a type of lung cancer, William's health began to deteriorate in the 2010s, and he passed away on December 31st, 2016, after a long battle with the disease exactly 1 year earlier on the same day that his co-star from the television show MASH, Wayne Rogers, passed away. Number 7. Allan Arbus. Allan began his acting career in New York theater in the 1960s, and by the late 1960s, he had transitioned into roles in television and film. Other films in which Allan appeared includes Greaser's Palace in 1972, Cinderella Liberty in 1973, and Coffee, also 1973. Allan performed supporting roles in these films. Because of his composed attitude, intelligent voice, and intellectual presence, he was an excellent choice for portraying characters that were serious and introspective. The first time Allan appeared on the show was in the episode Deal Me Out in 1973, which was the 17th episode of the second season. Sidney Friedman was a psychiatrist who worked with the military and was frequently called upon to help people who were experiencing emotional distress. Over the course of 11 seasons, Allan Arbus would make a total of 12 appearances, which is a smaller number of episodes than the majority of recurrent characters, but he would always leave an impression that would remain. He was one of a kind because he was clever, charming, and profoundly perceptive all at the same time. These sessions of therapy that Allan led were given with a combination of humor, compassion, and clinical clarity. A number of the prominent characters, including Hawkeye, Klinger, and Margaret Houlihan, received assistance from Allan during their emotional breakdowns. After leaving MASH, Allan continued to appear in guest parts on a variety of television shows, including Law & Order and Judging Amy. He continued to have a film presence that was that of a measured and highly thoughtful person, and he was frequently featured in roles such as a doctor, professor, or mentor. Additionally, Allan has served as a participant in theatrical shows in both New York and Los Angeles. The funeral for Allan took place on April 19, 2013, and the reason of his passing was natural. His demise was deeply regretted by fans of MASH, who didn't remember him for the frequency for which he appeared, but rather for the breadth and dignity he gave to each and every appearance. Number 8. Kellye Nakahara. In 1972, Kellye was cast as a background nurse on MASH early in its first season. Kellye initially had no speaking lines and was an unnamed character in early episodes. Over time, Kellye became one of the most frequently seen nurses on the show, appearing in nearly 170 of the 251 episodes, which was more than some of the main characters. Eventually, Kellye was given the name Nurse Kellye Yamato, who was one of the few Asian American characters on TV in that era with emotional depth. Kellye became known for her warm, comforting presence in the OR and post-op. Kellye was a rare mix of humor, quiet resilience, and dignity. Her friendly chemistry with the entire cast, especially with Loretta Swit, Major Houlihan, and Jamie Farr, Klinger. In the signature episode Hey Look Me Over, Season 11, Episode 12, Nurse Kellye finally got a leading role. The story focuses on her frustration at being overlooked, particularly by Hawkeye, who only seems to notice the pretty nurses. In 1983, post-MASH, Kellye continued acting with small roles in Clue in 1985, where she played the cook in the cult classic comedy. Black Day, Blue Night, 1995, and guest roles in supporting or maternal roles, always bringing warmth and relatability. She never reached the level of fame of her co-stars, but she was widely admired within the industry. During the year 2010, she continued to make public appearances at MASH reunions and fan conventions, and later died on February 16, 2020. Her cause of death was cancer. Number 9. Edward Winter. Edward rose to prominence on Broadway in the 1960s after making an appearance in the 1966 production of Cabaret. For his performance as Ernst Ludwig, he was recognized with a nomination for a Tony Award. Edward began his career by playing in guest appearances on television shows such as Mission Impossible and The FBI, after spending several years performing in regional theater, where he developed his range and was able to improve his dramatic timing. In 1973, Edward made his debut in the episode Deal Me Out of the second season, playing the role of Captain Halloran. Subsequently, he was recast as Colonel Sam Flagg, a military intelligence officer. Between the years 1973 and 1979, Edward made a total of 7 appearances, yet his influence was rather significant. The traits of paranoia, fanaticism, and aggressive patriotism characterized the character of Colonel Flagg. Edward served as the ideal counterpoint to the compassion displayed by the primary characters. Whereas Hawkeye relied on logic, Flagg had to resort to threats. During the 1980s, after performing in MASH, Edward continued his steady employment in television and cinema, appearing in films such as Porky's 2: The Next Day in 1983 and The Buddy System in 1984. He also continued to work in television shows such as Soap and Project UFO. Edward was well known for his ability to play authoritative individuals, such as lawyers, bureaucrats, or other officials, frequently with a humorous twist. Over the course of the 1990s, Edward participated in sporadic voice acting gigs, which included roles in animated series and advertisements. During his later years, Edward maintained a low profile in the public eye. Later on March 8, 2001, he passed away as a result of complications brought on by Parkinson's disease. Number 10. Herb Voland. During the golden age of television, which occurred in the 1950s, Herb began his acting career by appearing in live television dramas. He also made appearances in anthology series such as the United States Steel Hour. Throughout his career, Herb has earned a reputation for his ability to portray characters with a comic or satirical edge, including business people, authority figures, and bosses who are irritable. In the rapidly expanding world of sitcoms and variety shows, Herb quickly became a character that was frequently used. During the 1960s, Herb appeared in notable sitcoms like The Mary Tyler Moore Show, playing a wide range of supporting roles within the show. In his career, he was recognized for portraying roles such as executives, generals, and fathers-in-law. These were the kinds of people that attempted to maintain order but were frequently engulfed by it. Through his role as a humorous straight guy, Herb made frequent appearances on The Joey Bishop Show. Both the first and second season of MASH featured Herb in a total of 4 episodes. Herb played the role of Brigadier General Crandall Clayton, a visiting commander who is known for his bombastic personality, his disconnection from the reality of battle, and his tendency to be a bit of a bureaucratic annoyance. Herb frequently played for laughs and was completely unaware of the challenges that the 4077th was experiencing. In the 1970s, once his career with MASH had concluded, Herb maintained his work in television by producing a variety of comedies and dramas. Notable appearances made by Herb include those on The Bob Newhart Show and Barney Miller, among others. Herb had a reputation for portraying characters that were authoritative yet humorous, as well as individuals of power who frequently displayed their own human frailties. The majority of the time, his characters were pompous but never nasty, frequently well-meaning but misinformed, and ideal foils for younger, more progressive principal characters. In the end, he passed away on April 36, 1981. Number 11. Patricia Stevens. In 1974, Patricia was cast as Nurse Baker in MASH. It was a recurring background nurse role. Patricia appeared for over 15 episodes, starting around season 3. Patricia was sometimes even seen assisting in surgery, post-op, or in general camp life. More notably, Patricia Stevens served as the uncredited voice of the PA system for much of the series. Fans may not have always seen her, but they heard her throughout the camp, making her part of the heartbeat of the 47th. Stevens' voice helped give the camp a lived-in, immersive feeling, but always alert, always moving. Her PA announcements added realism and continuity across the episodes. Despite Patricia rarely having dialogue as Nurse Baker, her voice was instantly recognizable for longtime viewers. Patricia helped to make the 47th feel like a real military unit, complete with background logistics. Besides MASH, Patricia Stevens had small roles in other television shows and appeared in Room 222. Patricia worked in voiceover and commercial narration, though most of her career was behind the scenes. Patricia often cast for her clear direction and calming vocal tone, making her a natural fit for announcement-style roles. Patricia kept her personal life out of the spotlight and rarely gave interviews or appeared as reunions, leading to limited public knowledge about her post-MASH years. Number 12. Roy Goldman. During the 1960s, Roy made appearances in films and television shows, but his roles were typically unacknowledged. Roy had a reputation in the industry for being a trustworthy background performer who gave reality and consistency to crowd scenes and ensemble shows. He was also noted for his performance in ensemble shows. Roy frequently played the roles of police officers and soldiers, much like many other background performers. The professionalism and constancy that Goldman displayed earned him respect, despite the fact that he did not typically give discourse. Beginning with the very first season of MASH, Roy was cast in the role of background corpsman in 1972. He was frequently credited simply as Roy, and he was sometimes billed as an orderly, a medic, or an ambulance driver. Over the course of the 11th season, Roy made appearances in more than 80 episodes. His presence became a reassuring constant, such as when he was seen working in the operating room, post-operative care, or assisting during emergency triage sessions. Although Roy had very few speaking lines, his presence remained consistent. A sense of continuity and authenticity was brought to the atmosphere of the camp by his well-known visage. In addition to his work on MASH, Goldman has appeared in a few episodes of The Odd Couple and Get Smart. Hogan's Heroes, which included some of the same cast and staff as MASH, was another project that Roy worked on. On set, Roy was recognized for his quiet dependability and respect for the process, the way things were being done. It was said by the cast and crew that he was a diligent worker who was delighted to be part of something that was more significant than himself. Following the release of MASH, Roy gradually removed himself from the performing industry, eventually retiring from the screen in the 1980s. He passed away on September 1st, 2009. Number 13. Loretta Swit. Loretta was cast in MASH from the pilot episode in 1972 as Major Margaret Houlihan, the chief army nurse at the 47th. Loretta was originally portrayed as rigid, by the book, and highly patriotic. Swit was known for her romantic entanglement with Frank Burns and being an antagonist to Hawkeye and Trapper. Swit is one of the most compelling character arcs in the entire series. As MASH matured, so did Margaret become more independent, self-aware, and compassionate, and broke off her toxic relationship with Frank Burns. Swit fought for more screen time and serious storylines for her character, and was pushed for Margaret to be seen as a leader, a healer, and a person. Loretta won 2 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actress in 1980 and 1982. Loretta was nominated 10 times throughout her MASH career. Loretta remains the only actor other than Allan Arbus to appear in all 11 seasons of the show. After MASH, Swit continued to act in TV and theater. She continued to appear at MASH conventions, reunions, and charity events. In interviews, reflects warmly on her time with the cast and especially her deep friendship with Harry Morgan, Mike Farrell, and Allan Arbus. She died on May 30th, 2025. 14. Johnny Haymer. Johnny began his career as a performer by performing in nightclubs and on stage, where he honed his skills in comedy and character acting simultaneously. Later on, he became a well-known figure on variety television, appearing on shows such as The Jackie Gleason Show, The Ed Sullivan Show, and others. He even had an appearance on Broadway in the production of New Faces of 1956, in which he shared the stage with early career superstars. Over the course of his career, Haymer has appeared on a wide variety of television shows, including The Kara Williams Show, The Wild Wild West, and Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. In 1979, Johnny played the role of Staff Sergeant Zelmo Zale, an irresistible supply officer who was famous for his conflicts with Corporal Klinger. He starred in 20 episodes spanning seasons 2 of the show. The funny, elusive, and comfortable lying to authority that he brought to the table is something that many fans still clearly remember. He offered a combative energy that was remarkable. His career continued far into the 1980s, during which he appeared on Madam's Palace as the butler Walter Pinkerton from 1982 to 1983. He provided his voice for a number of well-known characters in animated films and television shows, including Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and the Transformers. Up until the late 1980s, Johnny continued to work in advertisements and television, and his last acting credit was a cameo part on the television show Life Goes On. Later on, Johnny, who was 69 years old at the time of his death, passed away on November 18, 1989, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles due to cancer. In spite of the fact that he was not a main character, Johnny brought a sense of humor and depth to the show MASH, enhancing its fabric with his one-of-a-kind personality. Number 15. Judy Farrell. In the 1970s, Judy started appearing on TV with guest roles in shows like Get Smart, The Partridge Family, Quincy M.E., and Fame. She was cast as Nurse Abel on MASH, appearing in 8 episodes between seasons 5 and 11. Judy transitioned into writing pen and 1 episode of Fame in 1983, and later wrote 13 episodes of the soap Port Charles from 1998 to 2003. She continued acting in occasional roles, including the film Long-Term Relationship in 2006, and her final credited appearance on April 2nd, 2023, Judy passed away at 84 after 9 days of suffering a stroke that left her unable to speak. Though she remained conscious and able to hold her loved one's hand, Loretta Swit, her MASH co-star, remembered her fondly. Judy was the most beautiful woman. We grew up together. She was family. Nurse Abel. Judy brought gentle grace to one of TV's most beloved series, even with limited screen time. Her talents extended beyond acting, and she enriched the storytelling world as both performer and writer. Beloved by colleagues and family alike, she's remembered for her warmth, generosity, and unwavering spirit. Thanks for watching Past Paradise, where Hollywood legends come home. If you enjoyed today's look into 15 beloved MASH actors who tragically passed away, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Got a star or story you want next? Drop it in the comments. Until then, keep the nostalgia alive, only on Past Paradise.